everybody, and welcome to the second video where we look at different types of solving equations. In this video, we have a look at using a method called the substitution method. So in this method, there is a repetition of terms which make the equation quite complicated, which we then substitute out, solve it in an uncomplicated manner, and then re-substitute. If you would like, pause the video now so you can attempt it. Alternatively, watch it now as we go through it together. So let's have a look at the first one. The first one is x squared plus x squared plus 8 is equal to 6 times x squared plus x. Now, what you can see from this is this repetition of this x squared plus x term. And this here is quite complicated. You can imagine if you had to square this out, you're going to get x to the power 4, you're going to get cube terms, you're going to get square terms, so it's going to be all different terms. So what's an easier way to do it is to identify that there's these two things in common and substitute it. You can let it be equal to anything. Normally the thing that is used is k, and that's why it's called the k method also. So then whenever we see x squared plus x, we're going to replace it with k. So over here, this x squared plus x is going to be replaced with k, and it is squared, plus 8 is equal to 6, and again, this x squared plus x is going to be replaced with k. What we're left with now is a quadratic equation that we know how to solve. So we're going to get everything over to one side. When we take the 6 over, its sign changes. Then we're looking for the factors of 8 that give us minus 6. So that would be k minus 4, k minus 2. So you can see it was a quadratic in k, and we used our standard quadratic equation methods to solve it. So what we have is k minus 4 is equal to 0, which means that k is equal to 4, or k minus 2 is equal to 0, which means k is equal to 2. So now what we would like to do is we would like to re-substitute. So again, we're going to then, k is equal to x squared plus x. So we're going to replace the x squared plus x into the place of k. Just doing it on both sides. So then we're replacing k with what we said it is equal to in terms of x. So we can solve in terms of x. So then what we get over here is x squared plus x minus 4 is equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation again, and we can, okay, the factors of 4 is 1 and 3 and 4 and 1, so we can't use the factors, so we can use the quadratic formula. If you have forgotten or unfamiliar with the quadratic formula, please watch one of our previous videos where we go through the quadratic formula. So a is the coefficient of x squared, so it's 1. B is the coefficient of x, so it's 1. And c is our constant term, so it's minus 4. So let's substitute. This here is equal to minus 1 plus or minus 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 4 all over 2 times 1. So this here is minus 1 plus or minus 1 plus 16 when we multiply that out all over 2. So we get that x is equal to minus 1 plus or minus root 17 over 2. So the two solutions is x is minus 1 plus root 17 over 2, or x is equal to minus 1 minus 17 over root 2. Again, if you're unfamiliar, please go and watch the video on solving quadratic equations. So let's have a look at this one over here. So we're replacing the k is equal to 2 with x squared plus x is equal to 2. And again, it's a quadratic equation, so we take everything over. And then we're looking for the factors of 2 that give us positive 1. So that's x plus 2, and x minus 1 gives us 0. So that means x plus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 2. Or x plus 1 is equal to, sorry, x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 1. And that is how we then use the substitution method. Can you see that we have gotten 4 answers for x? So 1, 2, 3, 4. And without the substitution method, this would have been a lot more complicated. let's practice one more example so that we see that we've understood it. So the second one is 2x squared plus x squared minus 12 times 2x squared plus x is equal to 45. So what we would like to do is find the factors of, before we do find any factors, we would like to see if there's any repetitions. Now, looking at this question, what are we going to then substitute? So we see that there's this 2x plus x that's repeated. So that would have been a nice thing. So you say, let 2x squared plus x equal k. And then what does our equation become? This here becomes k, and it's squared. So k squared minus 12 times 2x plus x, which is k, is equal to 45. Okay, and again, this is a quadratic equation, so we can solve it by taking everything to one side and then factorizing. So we're looking for the factors of 45 that give us minus 12. So we have k minus 15 and k plus 3. That's how we're going to get minus 12, which means k minus 15 is equal to 0. So k is equal to 15, or k plus 3 is equal to 0, which means k is equal to negative 3. Did they ask for the solutions in terms of k? No, they asked for the solution in terms of x. So we're going to replace what we said, k was what we said it is, so it's 2x plus x. And then we'll solve the equation in terms of x. So here we have k is equal to 15, which means 2x squared plus x squared is equal to 15. So we can take everything over to one side. So minus 15 is equal to 0. And then what we are doing is we're looking for the factors of 2x and 15 that give us x. So let's try this method. 2x times x, we write the first terms under each other, and then we're going to write the second terms under each other. So we have 5 and 3. We're going to cross multiply, that gives us 5x, and this gives us 6x. And we're looking for a positive 1, which you can say positive 6 minus 1 gives us positive x. So this sign here should be a negative, and this sign here should be a positive. So this factorized gives us 2x minus 5 times x plus 3 is equal to 0. If you are a bit confused about how we factorize this, again, please watch our previous videos on solving quadratic equations. So we have 2x is equal to minus 5, and 2x is equal to then 5, and x is equal to 5 over 2, or x plus 3 is equal to 0, so x is equal to negative 3. Let us look at this one here. We have 2x plus x is equal to minus 3. So we're going to take everything over to one side. And then we're going to try and solve for the factors of x. So I'm going to use the quadratic formula in this case over here, although you can use whichever method you are most comfortable with. So again, our a value is the coefficient of x squared, our b value is the coefficient of x, and our c value is the constant term. So we have that x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So minus b is minus 1 plus or minus 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times 3 all over 2 times 2. So this here is equal to minus 1 plus or minus 1 minus 8 times 3 is 24. So minus 24 all over 4. So x is equal to minus 1 plus or minus negative 23 over 4. Now, when you see a negative under a square root, that's when a little bell should go off, that this here is not real. So this part here gives us no real solutions. So the first part of our equation gave us two answers, and the second part gave us no real solutions. So maybe if you are looking at your non-real numbers or imaginary numbers at a later stage of your mathematics career, you can follow up on that. But in terms of a real solution, we do not get real solutions from there, so we just write no real solution. Please watch this video again if you have not understood it. It's very important. And if you have, please look at the videos on some of the other methods of solving equations.